Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Valley Views. I'm your host, Glenn Edison, and we want to say a thank you to BTC Fiber, who's sponsoring our program. And today we have Janis, Kyser, the Director of the Chamber of Commerce here in Dunlap, Tennessee, and we're certainly glad to have you, Janis.
Thank you.
And today we want to talk about the census and how and why it's important and what all the census does, and then at the end we'll talk about some other things we may have scheduled. But first of all, I want us to address, why is the census important?
Well, Glenn, I think all of us, those who live in Sequatchie County, feel as though we're rooted in Sequatchie, in the whole valley, Sequatchie Valley. Well, it's important to complete the census because one reason, it was established by the Constitution. And the Constitution, when we created our democracy, said we want a count of all the people who live in our country. And so it is declared in the Constitution that we will do a census. That's one reason. It's also declared that we'll do it every 10 years. But then there are multiple reasons why everyone should stand up and be counted. One reason is that our electoral districts, we've been in the 3rd District, we've been in the 4th U.S. Congressional District, and those are dependent upon the census.
Right.
So the number of people, the mapping of the district, redistricting is based on the count of the census. Another thing, the political powers, how many representatives do we have in the state of Tennessee is determined by the census, as well as the drawing of, like I said, the district, the state, across the state, the entire population helps balance that out. The stage that we're sitting on right now was help funded by participation in the census. It impacts our everyday life. The census does. It determines where new schools are built. Now, we don't have as much issue of building new schools as we do of having to repair our schools,
right,
having to build onto our schools. Griffith, since 1963,
Yes.
they're in the process now of remodeling Griffith Elementary. Part of that funds will come from the census, will come from the federal government and the state government, because people stood up and were counted. Another part is the fire departments.
Yes.
Funding comes down through the federal government for fire departments. There are federal regulations that must be met for every fire department. If the city of Dunlap and Sequatchie County were dependent on taxpayers to keep our fire departments upgraded, to buy new equipment,
right,
the suits, the equipment that each fireman has to wear can be $10,000 with the oxygen tank. I can't imagine what my taxes would be.
Right, exactly.
If we had to pay all of that locally. We don't. Police departments, law enforcement. Now, I know lately there's been lots of issues on defunding the police. And if you read more about it, it's not about we're going to take money away from the police. It may be some of the duties that the police are doing now will be allocated to other departments.
Right.
I read an article that when the officers are called because somebody's cat is in a tree and it's been there for 2 days and starving. Our police officers in Sequatchie County and Dunlap, they go out and help rescue that cat. Well, in larger cities, defunding the police would allocate that duty to the animal shelter. Well, guess what? We don't have an animal shelter.
Right.
So therefore, if Sequatchie County officers and police departments and city and county are defunded, nobody's going to come and help you with your animal. And I've tried to make notes so that I'll try to remember things that, when you get old, you kind of forget things. But one of the things that the census dollars do are the highways.
Yes.
And the roads. I mean, if you travel on US 127, that's United States, that's federal dollars. There's no way that we as a county could keep those roads up.
No, that's right.
So the highway departments, and then money flows through the states on community block grants.
Yes.
When it flows through the state, that money's coming from the federal government. Billions and billions of dollars are allocated through the census. The census helps determine where new clinics are needed, where hospitals are needed, where services for older adults.
Yes.
And the census takes care of older adults, children, and families with special needs.
And that's important.
It is important because we have a great population that fall into that area.
We sure do.
With that being said, the assumption is that people who don't fall into those categories are able to work.
Right.
My thoughts are, and I can't verify, are that a lot of the people who have not responded to their census are those that are receiving Medicaid, Medicare. Although I will tell you, we were helping distribute food down at Anthony and Teresa's at Valley Entertainment.
Yes.
And we were handing out census brochures, information.
Oh,
the people over 60, 65, they all have done their census.
Well,
They live long enough that they know the importance of doing their census. At the same time, we were doing applications for a man and Hummel at the chamber last week. The younger people, those 19, 20, I asked, have you completed your census? I got to ask, what's the census? So
really?
it's upon each of us to educate our friends, our peers, our neighbors, what the census is and the importance of the census. So people receiving Medicaid, people who are on TennCare, Tennessee chose to do our own insurance through TennCare.
Right.
Some of the other states have federally sponsored insurance. We chose to do TennCare. So those on Medicaid, those receiving TennCare, those families who have children attending Head Start, all of those are census dollars. If you don't complete your census, this next 10 years, we're going to be in a mess. We're going to be really, really hurting for those dollars if we're not.
Well, how are we doing as far as countywide right now?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked, but then remind me to go back to a couple other things that in Sequatchie County, we have 15,026 people based on 2019 reports. Now, I feel like it's probably higher than that. Of those 15,026, we're at 53.3%. 53. Now, where is 53% of anything acceptable?
That's a failing grade.
It is a failing grade. So what that means is we have access to 100% of federal dollars. And we're only going to get 53 out of every $100 because that's all that the people have responded. So out of the 15,026 people, there are 8,009 people in Sequatchie County that have not responded.
Wow.
So I'm asking, if you're one of those 8,009 people, we have some ways that we can help you out. The state rate is at 61%. So, but I want to talk just a minute more about other services that I know for a fact that Sequatchie County people are getting that will not be available if we don't get our census up, such as the health departments, where you go to be tested for COVID-19, where you do your well baby checkups, any services that are offered that receive federal grant monies. All of those can be cut easily if the funding's not there. School lunches, are federally funded. They're federally subsidized. So if we lose those every Thursday, they're feeding 800 plus kids, families.
Right.
Without census money, without federal money, these 800 families will not have food.
That's rough.
So those who get food stamps, the SNAP program, the commodities, those won't exist, or they will be at a diminished rate. Highway constructions, federal spending on anything, security, federal security, college tuition. If you are a parent of a student that's going to college and they have a Pell Grant or other subsidies from federal dollars, guess what? Those will be gone. And I know lots of students in Sequatchie County. Did you do a Pell Grant? Well, guess what? If we don't complete our census, those funds aren't there. One of the things that people say, well, I've completed my census and I'm at home and really don't have anything to do. The U.S. Census is hiring 5 to 10 workers for Sequatchie County only. And you can apply online for those at www.2020census.gov. They start out at $14 an hour, plus they pay 58 cents a mile if you have to travel to take people's census. I mean, that's pretty now good. It is a temporary job,
right?
But that's a great pay scale. And again, if we can't get these 8,009 people to complete their census, Sequatchie County is going to lose $880,973 per year.
Wow.
Per year. Now, that's $1,100 per person per year for the next 10 years. What is that? Oh, it's over $88 million that could be used within our county.
That's a lot of money.
Well, now, I hear people say, well, I don't like what the government does. I'm not happy with what they're doing. Well, guess what? This is your money.
Right.
And whether you like what they do or not, this is your way to get it changed.
Right.
Complete your census. And you had asked, we talked yesterday, when you were at the chamber, how can the census support and help the local economy? $88 million. What could we do with $88 million? Small Business Association grants.
Yes.
Those come from the federal government. The household median income in Sequatchie County now is $51,750, which is per county, or per household. Some households you may have 4 or 5 people working.
Yes.
So we have several households that are really low income. Those are the ones that we're having trouble completing the census.
Oh, okay.
So if people want to change their level of living, we need you to complete the census. The average person drives 32 minutes per day to get to work, which means a lot of them are driving outside of Sequatchie County.
Right.
The census helps, again, to determine which roads are built, which bridges are replaced.
Yeah.
It determines the number of traffic lights. We have to go through lots of procedures, lots of regulations and rules to get traffic lights done. The electricity, the water, the sewage, the phone, the internet, VPC fiber, all of those are monitored by the federal government.
Yes.
The federal dollars help supplement each one of those. There is no way. Right now, Sequatchie County, City of Dunlap, is looking at $23 million to replace our sewer system.
Wow.
Now, you talk about a tax rate.
Yeah.
We can't do it, so
No.
we have to depend on the federal government to support us and help us out. Federal dollars.
So if we want these services, we need to get out and fill those forms out.
People need.
Because we're
I
going to
want
pay
to
for
tell
it in
you
the
in a
long run.
minute how you can do that. If we don't do it here locally, we're going to pay for it locally. but you can do it filling out your taxes. Business owners. I get people calling the chamber all the time and saying, well, what's the population and how many people drive on 127 between noon and 4 o'clock? I can tell them that information because the census gathers data and the census pays for data gatherers within the state. So we know how many people. If they want, it also helps people who want to do restaurants, factories. So when Manhummel came here and Humner came here, they wanted to know how many workers, what is their labor force? Are they trained? Who's available to train them? The census dollars tells us all of that. So nobody wants to come and build a Chick-fil-A when we don't have the numbers to support it. We just can't do those kinds of things. It talks about where the new jobs are, let you know how many communities across the country that are similar to ours have been able to support different jobs, different factories, different businesses, different restaurants. It provides such a rich set of data that all communities can use. I use quick facts, U.S. Census quick facts all the time. You can plug in Sequatchie County and it tells you our population. And people say, why do they want to know if I'm a male or a female and how old I am? So I can plug in and just in quick facts, I know how many boy, girl, black, white, between ages 1 and 6, 3 and 12, just any data set that you want to, how many graduate from high school, how many have college degrees. That's why we need that information. And it also projects population growth. And my understanding is that people like Sequatchie County the way it is. And we kind of want to manage our population growth. We can do that through the census. We talked about how do individuals benefit. And I think I've touched on most of those. But let me run through again. Senior citizen, food for everybody. The federal government through the census dollars has paid for 500 people daily, senior citizens over 65, to go down to Anthony and Teresa's down at Valley Entertainment to have lunch, a hot meal.
That's great.
Foods provided through the USDA, the commodities, the local food bank. People, I don't think they understand that the food comes through federal dollars. The volunteers help get it out. There's federal monies. Again, the Head Start, the food bank, the SNAP, CEFRA is funded. So those who have to have medicine that lack transportation, they call CEFRA. Providing support for rents, electricity, water, all of that comes through federal dollars. A red light, stop sign, the road work, state and local law enforcement. The Federal Emergency Management, the FEMA and the TEMA, over the last 3 or 4 months, we have accessed so many funds for the mask, for the gloves, for people working out in the COVID-19 arena.
And one thing you haven't touched on, which is more recent, is when we have natural disasters, the money comes in from federal a lot of times.
Yes, exactly. The tornadoes, the floods, storms, those are FEMA and TEMA funds that are paid for with your census dollars. And we talked about had the coronavirus, the COVID-19 impacted the census a lot. I think it has. I think it scared people, such as today. Sequatchie County has 22 cases. We have 0 deaths. We are one blessed community because Winfrey Smith, Keith, and Dwayne have worked diligently with the emergency management group.
Yes.
To ensure that there are masks, there are gloves where they need to be. We work diligently to keep our numbers down, such as Hamilton County last night, overnight, had 728 new cases with 8 new deaths. Now, how many of you drive to Chattanooga thinking that you're safe? Well, it's
Right.
not. And then, you talk about, is it too late to do your census? Absolutely, it is not. I have 3 or 4 ways that everybody can do their census.
Okay.
One is if you still have the paper form that was mailed to you middle of March,
Right.
fill it out. If you need help filling it out, come to the chamber. Right at the red light downtown, we'll help you do that. The easiest way, if you have access to a computer, is go to www.mycensus2020.gov. It'll take you about 10 minutes or less.
Right, it's not hard.
No, at the chamber, we have helped 26 people do theirs already. You can also call 1-844-330-2020, and they'll walk you through it, but you may have to wait.
Right.
You may have to wait on the line to do that. The Chamber of Commerce daily from Monday to Friday, from 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock, we have computers set up. So if you don't have access to the internet, you want to come in, we have internet set up.
Right.
We have wireless there. You can use your own devices you want to, but we'll walk you through it. We will need to help you. We need everybody that lives in your household, their full names, and their dates of birth.
Right.
That's it. That's the questions they're going to ask if you rent your house, do you own your house. There's nothing invasive about it.
No.
And I also need to share with you that I've had some concerns that when people say, well, I'm not going to do mine because I don't want to be deported. And I understand that. That's a fearful thing. I have been told by the federal government that no one will be deported over the census, but their numbers will count in ours, that's what it is. Another way is on Friday, July the 3rd, the census is hosting the chamber's hosting a census day. So on Friday the 3rd, between 10 and 2, you come fill out your census. We're going to serve you a hot dog meal, and we're going to give you a t-shirt that says stand up and be counted and has rooted in the Sequatchie Valley on the back. So we're excited about that. And then on the 4th of July here at Harris Park, under the smaller pavilion down by the playground, the chamber's going to host the bingo. And along with the bingo, we'll be able to help you complete your census down there. We'll have volunteers to help do the census.
And there's Wi-Fi here.
There is Wi-Fi here, yes. So if you don't want to come to the census, to the chamber, and you have a way to, a device to access, this is wireless. So I can't stress enough the importance of every person to complete their census, the importance of every citizen in Sequatchie County to ask your neighbor. I have been amazed at the people that didn't know how to access it online, that have come in and allowed us to help them. And just say, well, I'm computer illiterate, I don't know how to do it, don't want to do it, will you do it for me? Absolutely, we will. Absolutely.
Well, that's the thing, and if people want these funds to come to this way instead of paying higher taxes, fill those forms out, folks. It's very important. That's the way we grow without having to tax you.
$88 million we're eligible for, but we only get funds for those who are counted.
Right.
So then we've also had people say, well, we live in, there's a couple of that people themselves consider sovereign nations in Sequatchie County. Then I ask, well, if your sovereign nation catches on fire, who are you going to call?
Yes.
Well, guess what? They're going to call the federally funded fire department. They're going to call the federally funded ambulances. They're going to use the federally funded ER. So, you can only be sovereign for so long without what highways do you drive on when you come to buy groceries?
Right, exactly.
So it's erroneous for people to think that they're not using tax dollars, that we're living off the land unless an emergency happens with it.
Janis, is there anything else you want to add before we finish?
I expect a great crowd on the 4th of July. We are not through with the COVID-19, with the coronavirus. I'm going to encourage everyone to socially distance. I go to Walmart. I may be the only one in there, but I'm wearing my mask. This is probably the closest I've been to anyone without a mask on, because my kids remind me that I'm in the age group that's at high risk. I don't feel it, but I am. So it's important that we wear masks. And if you have to cough in your elbow or take care of each other. It's not just about you, it's about our community. And we're rooted in the Sequatchie Valley. We love the Sequatchie Valley. And we'll see you the 4th of July.
All right, great. Thank you, Janis. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Glenn, for all you do.
Thank you.
And thank you to BTC Fiber.
Yes, thank you very much for our program today. BTC Fiber is our sponsor, and good on their YouTube channel, BTC Fiber YouTube. That's where you can see all of our programs as well as Channel 18. Thank you.
Brought to you by Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative, your full-service telecommunications provider right here in the Sequatchie Valley.